Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Day Darling, as you see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual. I'm not sure if it's actually a good idea to record this Animal Crossing episode right now, because I am about to play D&D in about a bit under 20-ish minutes, so I think this might put me... I will round it off a little tiny bit early. But yeah, cool as... Yeah, I mean... I literally just said it. So I haven't actually written out my notes. I know what's going to happen in this session, probably. It should be a relatively relaxed session, but we'll see. Hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow at 6:42 PM on Monday, November 25th, 2024. Well, actually, maybe not that relaxed. Well, I don't know. I guess the players will see. It'll start out probably relaxed and then probably not be as relaxed as we get to the later stages. But anyway. Neither here nor there. Instead, we're here to play Animal Crossing. Well, play Animal Crossing, talk about Animal Crossing. And really, I mean, talk about, do my Neopet dailies. Yeah. What is going on? Where okay, so, sorry. What should I talk about today? That's a great question. I don't really know what I want to talk about. I'm just trying to think what comes to mind. Shiny colours is the only sort of like update I have on the games I play. I did eventually get Tenka's SSR. Literally, the second to last pull. No, the penultimate pull before I hit Hard Pity. And I was like, alright, well, okay, might as well do the one more pull to get an extra copy. And no joke, on that one more pull, I got another copy of it. So, it's just sort of like, okay, well, you couldn't have given me 300 pulls. Yeah, no, it's a lot of these gacha games which have hard pities. And literally, and like, only in pull 280, 290. No, pull 290 and pull 300. What I get? 2 more copies of 101. I was like, come on, what the heck? That is the nature of gacha after all. Which is why I'm just like, you shouldn't play gacha if you don't want to play gacha. There's not much, I suppose, necessarily from it, except for some of the games. Or don't engage with a gacha, maybe. What on earth is this item? Ultimate Dark Reflector Orb. What a fascinating item. I have no idea what this is. It must be a Battle Dome item, which I assume reflects things backwards? I don't know. Hold on. We've got to find out the Neopets meta. The in-depth Battlepedia. Here we go. Do people like it? Rating of 5. Okay, never mind. Let's not bother with that then. I only tend to do the daily quests, I think, in Neopets if there's an actual customization for me to get from it. But anyway, what are we going to talk about? That's a really good question. I don't know. I was talking with a friend about the Honkai Star Rail, the new Memory of Chaos. Would come out, and then we were both just like, whoa, this one is like so much harder than the previous one. The previous one I did literally, I checked, I did it in 2 cycles, which is insanely fast by me, but it was also because I had 2 teams who worked really well. No, one team who worked insanely well with a blessing, and then the other team was really good against that enemy, I can't remember. And this Memory of Chaos, it took me 8 cycles to do it. Part of it I'm sure is because I used a weaker team, I used a dot team, which is not as good as a follow-up team. But I was surprised about how much of a difference. I was like, whoa, Jesus. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. What are we here to talk about? I'm just trying to find a conversation. I don't know. I'm definitely feeling a little bit sleepy, I think, today compared to usual, which is unusual, I would say, for me. I did sleep somewhat late last night, to be fair, so that's on me. Like, I've got no one to blame but myself. Oh, you know what we could check out? The Mahjong Soul has a nocturnal collaboration started. I don't really have much of a way of, I think, currency to pull, but still. I at least want to check it out. I quite like Mahjong Soul, to be honest. Or Mahjong in general. Did I already? No, I already did this one. I think it's quite fun. Like, I appreciate that sort of game. I appreciate any game which allows you to socialize while playing it. And Mahjong is definitely one of those games because it's not a complicated game, mind you. Well, okay, Asterisk. The raw mechanics of it are not too complicated. The hardest part is score calculation, which Mahjong Soul luckily does for you. There is strategy involved with Mahjong Soul. I don't really employ it much because, despite the fact that I'm Chinese, we played what I've now lovingly dubbed as chicken hand Mahjong, which, if you don't know what that means, I guess what I would say is, wow, I somehow got to the end of Fairy Caverns just by guessing. How I would describe it is essentially that normally in Mahjong Soul you need a specific type of patterns. There's a whole list of them in your hand to actually win. But the chicken hand Mahjong, you just need to fulfill the base criteria of having 4 triplets and a pair. If you play Mahjong Soul, you know what I mean. But if you don't play Mahjong Soul, you'll just be like, what? Which is fair, because it's not exactly the most intuitive thing, I think. Wow, it's a whole story and everything. But yeah, Mahjong Soul is... oh my gosh. Like, it's actually laid out the same as the Shiny Colors game. I don't understand what I'm looking at. Complete missions. Wow. This is crazy. Bizarre. I don't really know how this works, but maybe I'll play a bit, maybe I won't play a bit, I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. I forgot what I was going to say. It's completely gone from my mind. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, no, I was talking about games. No, like, I don't know how else to describe them except for, like, tea time sort of games, you know? Games like cards and Mahjong and whatever these sort of board game-esque sort of things are. I don't have much of a desire where I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, I really love playing a game with cheat or hearts or whatever. And again, I think, well, not to say that I can't, I bring it up all the time. Oh, I'm not competitive. Oh wow, really, for sure? Which I think is also a bit of a misnomer, because I feel like everyone's got at least a little bit of competitiveness in them. It's pretty hard to have 0 of like any personality trait. Well, I'm sure you can definitely think of some, but you understand what I'm saying. Like with the much more generic ones, like being brave or being a bit quirky or something, you know, etc., etc. It's pretty hard to have 0 of that personality trait, and competitiveness included. But I would say that there is not much draw for me. I'm not like, oh man, I want to play some hearts or something, you know, school of my friends. I don't really know how to play hearts all that well, mind you, either. And I think that's probably, you know, part of it as well, is the fact I don't know any strategy of it, such that it's not interesting, unless I'm just playing off a wall bonkers. But then once I start doing that for a while, eventually I get bored of that. Okay, so I don't know. The problem lies within me, not the cards. But I appreciate these games, which allow you to basically just play and have casual conversation at the same time. And with the advent, I suppose, of digital versions of these games, Mahjong Soul included, it allows, well, everyone, I think, to be able to interface with it in a much more accessible level. Because, as I say, what's a hard part about Mahjong? It's the fact that you had to calculate the score at the end. It's hard to exactly remember which tiles are like what you needed for a valid hand. Well, Mahjong Song doesn't tell you everything, at least can calculate the score for you, can automate the sort of processes about grabbing tiles and, you know, things like that, which makes things a lot easier, in my opinion. And that accessibility is nice. And it's cool to see that there's a lot of board games as well, which are sort of coming to Steam as well. Although it's the same thing with, I think, ebooks and books. The issue it runs into is the tactile feel of holding something physical in your hand is kind of, I'm not sure if I'd say far superior, but feels more superior to it otherwise. Yeah. I don't know what else I was going to say about it, to be honest. I'm trying to think of good examples, because I remember one that we used to always play, like with family friends, when we like gathered. We always used to play Cheat, because cheat was a super like simple game to play. You don't need to know any of the intentional rulings. If you wonder how cheat is played, it's basically, well, if anything, I suppose, if you played Liar's Bar now, it's not too, it's like a more extrapolated version of Liar's Cards or whatever it's called in that game. I wonder if I got an update recently or not. Because that was a game which was like, whoa, it blew up in popularity. I was seeing it everywhere for like a period of 2 weeks, and now it's like died immediately. I guess it hasn't quite dethroned Lethal Company or Among Us. Well, I don't know. I guess it's not dethroning, but more like joining the pantheon of multiplayer indie games on low budget, which end up being like a cult classic somehow or another. Anyway, what was I going to say about this? I don't remember. my mind is gone. That's how you can tell about. That's how I can tell about like maybe I'm a little bit more sleep deprived than I actually realize, because I'm like my thoughts can't string together. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, not the point. So we used to play cheat, which is basically you get a hand, you deal a deck of cards out to a group of people, and then you go around placing cards down into the center face down, and when you place them face down, you had to claim how many cards you put down and the number of cards you put down. So I might start off by being like, oh, I'm putting down 2 7s, then the next player has to either put down 7s, 8s or 6s, I believe. I'm not sure if you can put down the same number actually. Maybe it can only be 8s or 6s, like it has to increment or decrement. I don't remember the exact rulings of that. So either they can continue play by putting something down and claiming it as something, or they can call cheat on that person. And if they call cheat, that person flips over what they just played. And if they were being truthful, then the person who called cheat has to collect all the cards that were placed down in the middle. And but if they were lying, then the person who lied, who was cheating, has to collect all the cards in the middle instead. And the ultimate goal is basically to play your entire hand and to get rid of everything. And now it's a fun sort of game because one, it's incredibly simple to understand. Hopefully you understood it from my description there. But again, maybe I didn't also describe it very well. And like I was sort of just like, I wasn't intending to describe it, and then I went into describing it anyway. But it's incredibly simple to understand. Social deduction is fun in a group setting. You can try and do these mind gaming things, which at the end of the day, it's quite hard to get much of a read because the information you get is basically how well do you know this person, which is both good and bad, I suppose. Technically bad from a game design perspective, I suppose, because that's unfair information, I would argue, but it's good from just like a social game standpoint, right? You just sort of sit around and you claim these cards and you play them because why not? That's fun. But yeah, as we got older, I suppose, like I'm imagining, I played this as young as like 4 or 5, but mainly because it was on Neopets. Actually, no joke. But as we got older, we started playing it, and then we would like chat, I suppose, while doing it as well. And now other game quite captures that, I think. We don't play cheat anymore now we just sit around talking. We've like cut out the middleman or playing the card game instead. Because also at some point, like when people got Nintendo Wii's, we started playing those games instead. We started playing like Mario Kart, etc, etc. And actually now Flavour of the Month, I think, is Jackbox Party Pack, which is the favourite of the group. But yeah, well, where's I going with this? It's nice to have these sort of like tea time game, tea party games, party games. I guess is probably what you'd call it, but it doesn't feel right. Like the reason I use the phrase tea party is because what do you do at a tea party? You drink some tea, but it's mainly about the chatter. It's probably not about the tea itself, really. It's more about to socialise, and that's why I call it like a tea party game. Cheat is like a tea party. Well, I don't know if cheat is a good tea party game, because cheat you do actually have to focus on. It was just one that all of us knew the rules for because it was in Neopets, so we learned to play it that way. What is a good tea party game though? Is Mahjong a good tea party game? I think it's a pretty good one actually, because I think once you know the rules, I don't think it's a good one to be like, oh, let's introduce someone to this game, because I think you need a lot of concentration as a beginner, to be honest, to understand what's going on. But what else is a good tea party game? You know what? Uno. Uno is like the epitome of a tea party game, right? It's so simple. Multilingual, like... Well, multilingual is perhaps the wrong word, but it's not it doesn't rely on a knowledge of like English or a specific language to be able to play it. So you can just kind of send it. Tic-tac-toe came to mind. Squares. Those are not very fun tea party games. I guess Snakes and Ladders, technically. To me, Mario Kart is kind of like a tea party game as well, which is weird to say. Because of how much we played it, it's just something which I can play passively now while talking about whatever. I mean, you might say, can't you play like any game passively now, talking about whatever? And I would say, okay, fair point, but that's not really the thing I was going for. Most of my friends, and my family friends, can't, probably. Maybe they can, I don't know. Depends on the game. ARAM, League of Legends, tea party game. That's kind of the epitome of a tea party game we have in my friend circle right now. Because it's easy to play. We played League of Legends for so long. So really any game can become a tea party game if you played it like not as a tea party game for long enough. Even intense games like I'm sure like Call of Duty or StarCraft I'm sure could become a tea party game. Like just imagine like if you're good enough at StarCraft, you like hit diamond or whatever, you can just play like at a gold level or something casually and make it into a tea party game. Maybe tea party games also quite misleading because now I think about it, you can actually play games at tea parties, right? Like, I don't know, croquet or something, which is not really what I had in mind, but I guess technically fits the definition better. I'm going to call it tea party games anyway. Let's see if it's an actual phrase. Hold on. Tea party game. Teapot bingo. How do you play the tea party game as a board game? Well, as long as I don't actually play the tea party game at any point and decide to review it, this will be okay. Musical chairs, tea party game. I think those are just party games. I don't know why they got tea in front. There's probably some AI search engine optimization stuff going on there. We used to play Pictionary and Scribblio. That was a pretty good tea party sort of game. You might be like Gartic Phone might be. That's kind of dependent. Like that because everyone, the thing with Scribblio and these Pictionary style games is only one person kind of needs to concentrate at one time. If you've drawn a lot, then you don't need to concentrate as much as drawing. But like if for someone who doesn't draw, then you know you do kind of have to concentrate. It's like with any skill. Like if I were to use a comparison to me like doing, I don't know, basic mental maths or something, like lower than the tens multiples or something. Like yeah, I could use that as a tea party game probably. I don't know why I would. It wouldn't be very fun. But if you don't do that on a regular, and it's not even like I do that on a regular, but I've done it just like a lot of my life, and yeah, it would not be a tea party game. What's the opposite of a tea party game? Like a roast dinner game, I guess. That's how I describe it. Tea party games versus roast dinner games, or both different sort of things. One you sink your teeth into, and the other you just have a light conversation while doing. Anyway, I like tea party games. That's why I like ARAMs. And they're not also called tea party games. I've just invented that term right now. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.